I'm okay. Yeah. Yeah, what's up, Roy?
Man,
Good to see you guys.
yeah.
So yeah, fire this one. This is your story. Go ahead.
So, fake fights. Well, UFC right now is having some major issues about fixed fights. It's not them per se. Now, there's a former fighter and a great coach, a guy named James Krause, who unfortunately fucked up and is being investigated for fixing fights. Now, there was a guy, Derek Maynor, who he was cornering, and this dude came with an injured leg, and as obvious as it gets, throws that injured leg as a kick, winces, draws it back, and does it again. Like the commentators even like, what is he doing?
Is
And
there
he
footage?
just continued to do it. Yeah, put UFC fixed fight minor Minner right there.
Yeah, this is something that's always like
It's
this is
the first video.
It's one of these things everyone's always screaming rigged fight, rigged fight, rigged fight. I've yet to agree. You know?
Yeah.
So could this be the one?
Now in this case here,
Is this UFC footage?
yeah, but this one
Yeah,
is
if we could
everyone's
just-
covering it and they're chopping it. Like you see how it's choppy like this?
Yeah, okay.
The person did it
I
right.
see. Okay. Yep. Algorithm will
So
pick it
his
up.
leg was fucked and he still look, and then he wins. He's like, and then he goes and what does he do?
Who is it? Oh, this guy on the right?
The white guy.
Oh, the white guy on the left? Okay.
Throws that leg again that's fucked. And it's like he's doing it intentionally. And the commentators even like, that's his injured leg. And he throws it again. And then now what does he do? He just balls up and gets beat up.
Now,
It was
he's
weird,
a nobody, so I'm curious, why are we fixing this fight?
Because there was money put on this fight where he was supposed to win. Somebody put it against it. Allegedly, James Krause may or may not be betting against this. Maybe pulling a Pete Rose, we're saying, essentially. And that's illegal.
Okay. Yep. Of course
You can't do that. Like that's not just unethical in sports. That shit is illegal. You can go to prison for that shit.
Yep. And people
And
have.
James Krause was one of my favorite coaches leading up to this shit. I mean, he's a great fighter.
Big name. Big name.
It's legit. I mean, he corners Brandon Moreno, who is currently the interim flyweight champion. So, and he's got a fight coming up next month.
Yeah, he's been in the game for a minute too. You know, yeah, it's the choppy footage is hard to really see. But of course, for copyright reasons, Twitch will let us play it. YouTube won't. So if this clip ever makes it up there, it's just really, really tough because Dana White shuts shit down so fast.
Yeah, he doesn't like promotion.
No.
Now, the toughest thing in this case,
play it out.
Like,
let me see what's happening.
Why would this guy do this? Right. Well, when you're only getting paid 10 grand to show up, 10 grand to win, and the majority of that goes to your camp, and then there's insurance or not insurance, travel fees, lodging, all this shit. UFC doesn't pay for all that stuff.
Can you hear the announcer? Like, are they talking, or no? In this one, in this particular fight. Oh yeah. Oh no. This is the host.
Yeah, the person hosting it.
Yeah.
Ending to the fight right here, and you guys can tell me what you think about it. I'll tell you what I think about it.
I don't want to
right
hear this
after
guy.
the fight,
You're better than them.
So when the commentators were talking, when I watched the fight originally, me and Toker in Emerald Hills VC, shout out to Emerald Hills, and we were looking, and I'm like, what is he doing? And he does it again. I'm like, oh my god, that was stupid. And it wasn't, my first thought wasn't like, oh, this is a fixed fight, because you always think it's just the big names.
Right. Of course.
It's
That's
easier
what
to
I'm
get
thinking.
away from I feel like it's easier to have the small names do it.
Right, of course.
And even if it's a fucking small percentage gain, if you're betting $100,000 and you're making an extra $30,000-$40,000, I think that might be valuable for some of these guys.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So they're both suspended and under investigation right now, and it's tough because again, James Krause corners a lot of UFC fighters, so they've got to just find somebody else to corner them, which is not easy. I mean, that's your main eyes and ears.
Right. That's your coach.
That's your coach.
Scroll down. What are bloody elbow? Okay. Go down. I'll just take the article here.
Good source.
On Wednesday, the Nevada State Athletic Commission extended the temporary suspensions of former UFC fighter Derek Minor and his coach James Krause. During the December meeting of the NCAC, Deputy Attorney General Joel Becker said that Minor's initial suspension was for failing to inform the commission of an injury in connection with his November 5th, 2022 bout at the UFC Apex, which we got to see, in Las Vegas, Nevada against Shaylin.
Yeah, good luck.
Nerdenbike?
Nerdenbike.
Njordembeek, which Njordembeek won by first round TKO. Okay. So he's claiming that it came during that fight, but never said
Yeah.
anything. And that makes total sense too, that if you have an injury, you have to disclose it to the
They won't let you
commission.
fight.
To the commission, right? Because like the days of Bisbing and the days of fighting with no eyes or one eye are done. You know what I mean? That won't happen anymore. For a ton of legal reasons. It's just Bisbing's such a badass. Fuck, is he an animal? But anyways.
I know. See, in this
Um,
case, it's like they knew about the injury and then bet against the fighter is what is being allegedly thrown at them. These are the allegations.
Okay.
And it's weird because if they knew this was an issue and it could potentially change the fight, then why did you allow your fighter to fight? That's what's weird about it. And
Say
they
that again.
moved,
Sorry.
like, why? If you know your fighter's injured and you're the
Yeah.
coach,
Yeah.
why would
did
you
let him?
allow him to fight? Right?
Yeah. No.
So
Wow, that
oddly
makes no sense.
enough, if you look at it, hours leading up to the fight, they moved Minor and the guy's crazy last name from a minus 220 favorite to a minus 420 favorite. So just weirdly changed. All this betting was on him, but it was like to inflate the numbers. It's just like
Right.
crypto type of shit.
Right.
To inflate numbers, so that way they could essentially control the outcome and also get more money from it, inflate the return. So it's just essentially this was just a fucking, and allegedly, and if it is
What's
true
that?
and it comes out it's true, that this is really going to make people looking at fights for a long time as they're crooked. People think it's the judges. I still think. I mean, if you saw that Patty Pimbleton fight last weekend, yeah, the judges are fucked too. But
Yeah.
in this case,
I don't
man,
know.
the only
Like,
way you can totally control it is either you pay the judges, which there's too many people involved, or you keep
That's-
it between the fighter.
That's my argument. That's my argument when they say to pay the judges, is that there's too many fucking people involved, man. This money's going to be accounted for. The people that have to like get the money and give the money, they need to keep their mouth shut. Like that's so tough. But when it's the fighters, it's often there's one guy, the fighter, that knows what he's doing. You know, the team, the camp might not know, that kind of shit. But you bring up a really good point where it's like any good team would have said no. Their
I'm not
fighters
going to
aren't
risk my fighter's health
for 20 grand.
when he against a nobody when he could
Yeah.
fucking fight in a month after he's healed up. Like,
Fans lose. No, you're right. Honey bunches slugs.
that's
the fans
dirty
the
part.
fans lose out every time in this
This is
kind
how
of
boxing
situation.
is now. Is boxing is so fucking corrupt, and there's evidence it's been corrupt, but yeah, they still keep going the way they do with all
Right.
these random athletic commissions and all these random organizations. Like there's the IBF, IBO, IBA, WBC, WBO, Ring TV.
What are those?
These are all championships. These are all organizations. So if fighters became individuals instead of contracted employees like they are in the UFC, it would be like the Bellator champ, the UFC champ.
Yeah. Like it
It'd be the
was.
same type of thing.
Yeah, like
But-
it was.
And that's where the lack of organization comes into play. And then the promoters are the fighters now.
Right. Which is
Like
horrible.
Mayweather's his own promoter. De La
I
Hoya's
know.
been his own promoter.
McGregor.
Like
Yeah.
you can't trust it, man. You can't
Yeah.
trust it. Sports it's all entertainment, but it's like once
For
money's
sure.
involved.
And see, the reason I think that you have the most controversy surrounding boxing and fighting is because there's so few people involved.
The whole team
You know what I
is
mean?
hard.
That's right. You can't convince a football team that's 30 guys. Like someone on the team is gonna be like, no.
Team manager,
You
fucking
know?
the water boy.
Management.
It's gonna
There's
get out
100
to it,
people.
man.
There's 100 people involved in teams, you know. So
You look at
yeah.
Well, you look
Puts
at
a lot
like
into-
boxing, you've got their entourage.
Right. The guys that benefit from having their money. Right? Like when you
That's
look at the Mayweather crew, like all those guys, the guy holding his Merce, like that guy's taking in $75K to hold his Merce, right? So it's like he's not going to give up, you know, he's not going to give him up. He's going to be like, "All right, I'm not going to say that Mayweather's paying, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like he needs that money. That Merce ain't going to carry itself, bro."
It's true though. It's sad but true, man. Sad but fucking true.